welcome to the new episode of The Grapevine. Today I have all my friends with me, and we have a new buddy.
Hi, I'm Nardine.
Tina.
Ramonda.
I'm Susan.
And today we're going to continue last week's topic that we discussed, the fun one.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, so we talked about a few things last episode, so we're just going to continue that talk. Nardine, anything new?
Well, I mean, I'm getting more information about it from like parents and actual people that have more experience in it. But my main concern is how we can prevent it. What do you think, Tina?
Is it preventable?
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
Well, praying.
And when you say preventable, what do you mean? Preventing it happening before
Well, I mean,
marriage?
preventing our kids to actually think of ways to play around it. That's the main thing, because there is no way for us to know.
I think they just have that desire for it, and it's the atmosphere that we're living in, especially when you're in college, away from your house, your parents. I feel now everybody graduate from high school, they want to run away from the house. Freedom life.
True.
I'm adult. I can do everything. Why not? Why not me? The society, even not only outside our culture, but even our culture, everybody does everything under the table, like behind everybody. Like,
But the
I'm
issue-
innocent. I'm good.
The issue nowadays is everybody's actually talking about it and saying, oh, I did this or I did that, which is shocking.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
they're
Maybe
not
now,
hiding
not
it
old
anymore.
generation.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Well, and I think that was part of the problem, was it was never a topic that was discussed. And I think that actually worked against us because, I think the more that we show them we're aware and we relate to the pressures they're going through, I think it makes it so much more relatable. Like for me, I think that you can't, there are things you can do to prevent it, of course, obviously the grace of God, right? Just making sure we pray, we always stay strong. But I also think staying busy. I think that idle hands and hands that aren't busy and have things to do, those are the hands that sometimes get into trouble,
Yeah.
So I think for example, I went to school in Tallahassee, right? At the beginning, they didn't have a strong, big group of youth because we were just starting out that church there. And so you had a lot more free time. But I look online on Facebook now and I see that they have such a big group and they are all very busy with each other, So I do feel whenever they're given more things to do and then that foundation of that is church too, then those kinds of things help.
I think so, but remember, in school, especially in FAMU, which is where we went,
Of course.
you have all the preventions for students on the counter.
That's true.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, how can you prevent getting pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, Susan is right, how busy you have to be and how to spend your time getting busy, to occupy yourself. But still, it's so hard, Susan.
It is.
It's so hard.
I agree.
Especially they don't have their family and they fell in love. And I feel like, why would girls especially fell in love with anybody? Is it because she didn't get that much of love with her dad?
No,
Or
it's not
from her
always the
dad?
case.
It's not
I think
always?
it's a lot of times it's lonely. You're off in another town. So to your point, we try to get away, right? We try to get away. But then when we get there, I think within my first year, I got a dog. I adopted a dog.
That's
didn't last
awesome.
very
That's a
long.
great idea,
but
actually.
it was too much work in school.
See?
In school, yeah.
So I needed something else. I got a cat. I went to the Humane Society. So, you try to do things to love and all of that. But I think that's unfortunately one of the reasons, So I think you have to fill up your time with friendship more than anything. And I will say what I love, I think, at one of the churches here, they're doing a mentorship with young girls. The church, I even I see them doing Saturday book reading club and stuff like that, and I think those are the types of things engaging the girls. So our generation, engaging the college age girls is a good idea in my opinion.
But do you think it's working?
I think that it can't hurt.
Okay.
Do I think it is the solution to a problem? No, I think that ultimately, we're all can fall into anything, but I do think that it could help,
Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit of devil's advocate. Do you guys think talking about it with the younger generations, and nowadays it's not just high school, we're also talking about it with middle schoolers, and slowly it's getting younger and younger. So do you think that us being open with Sunday school kids or our nieces or nephews, do you think being open is something that is going to benefit?
I mean, it's from my opinion, I think it's a two-way place. Like, they could open up to you, but will you be able to handle what they have to say to whatever extent? Or they will just, give you a bone to just be quiet. Exactly. And just, they're doing other stuff. And now that they're aware that you're aware of it, they're going to be more sneaky about it. I just wanted to add something for the point previous. One of the things that I've noticed for students or girls especially that move to other places and leave their parents are friends. Like, for example, we're 3 friends and 2 of them are dating, and they keep pushing the third person, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you pushing all the guys away? Why aren't you dating? So she's just going to say yes, and then they're going to start having, like, physical activity. They're going to be like, yeah, you should do it. It's okay. It's normal. So that's also another thing. Like, I know even us, like, when my mom tells me this friend is no good, what do you know about it? I know she's great. We need to also find a way to, like, help our kids pick the right choice of friends. Or, I mean, let's say talk to the parents of the other girl and be like, hey, you need to keep your eyes open, because some parents really have no idea about what's going on.
True. But I feel like telling the parents
causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, they won't take it the way that.
No, I don't have to, like, say, oh, your daughter is doing this and this.
No. But even, like, being like, hey, a group of girls are doing this, bringing that to their attention, even if you're not, like, you're putting it on the girls and not the daughter, they're gonna be like, no, my daughter doesn't do that.
Yeah, some parents are. Like that.
My daughter's an angel.
My daughter's an angel. And she could be the one doing everything and leading everything. Yes. But also, to your point, I don't think you even have to leave the house for that to be an issue. I feel like even people living at home and going to college are still doing the same thing. You don't have to leave the house.
It's because of that much of freedom they get.
But like when you're
in college,
like, for example, when I was a teenager, I was with my parents. So I had my friends, this one had a boyfriend and this one was on a weird relationship or whatever. And they always used to tell me, like, why don't you go for it? Why don't you say yes to this? But when I used to go tell my mom, there was an influence from both sides. You know what I mean? Like, there's also another person saying, no, wait, you're going to find Mr. Right, blah, 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 blah. But when you're all on your own, that's the only thing you're hearing. And you're in school, you don't have time to call your parents, your sister, your best friend to tell her, to get another opinion. So you're just eventually going to give in. You know what I mean? That's the only difference, like, when you're on your own or when you're with your parents.
I agree with you, but I also think, to your point, it just creates, like, sneaky kids.
Yes.
So it's still completely easy to do when you are at home. I think it is easier, of course, when you're on your own, but it's like, if you're gonna do it, you're probably gonna find a way to do it. But like, I really do think, though, like, I agree to a point of, maybe what age do you start discussing it? Because, obviously you don't want to, like, bring it to their attention.
Yeah.
But I do think that, like, I think it's important, and it's something I don't do well at, and I should, is create more, like, personal relationships with the girls that are, especially the girls, like, that just came from Egypt, who are really, they're trying to find, like, where I fit in. And that's where it concerns me, And so I think that you don't have to say, like, let's talk about this topic, because that, of course, is going to be uncomfortable. But if you start, like, a relationship with them, like, almost like a mentorship type of relationship, I think that it's like a natural, like, evolution of friendship, like, they meet a boy and, they want to tell you, and because they feel that relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but how many moms can listen to that kind of conversation?
Yeah, well, I think
that's what I said.
Well, maybe
you need to have the energy to take it in.
That's
Not
a good
Egyptian
point.
Mom.
But I think, you know what, though, to that point, maybe we need to be mentoring the mothers.
Yes,
well,
we do.
I
think I agree with that.
Before the daughters,
Yes.
because like, they could give them advice or tell them, let's say I had my personal experience, this and this happened to me, and this was the consequences. I guess this will also leave a mark in them. Like whatever, in general, whatever my mom used to tell me, like if I did this, this happened to me. If I'm in her steps or if I'm about to do the same thing, always whatever she says rings a bell in my head.
But like middle school, I feel like my mom, I went through a really bad phase in middle school. I'm not going to lie about that one. I was really bad, and I didn't have that close relationship with my mom that I do now. But once I got into high school, my mom was trying to like build that relationship back up and like trying to get me to talk to her. And like, I think my Sunday school teachers were telling her like, you need to start building this relationship back. And so my mom started telling me things that happened to her when she was younger, which I loved because I was like, oh, you're not that angel. Yeah, like
That's rare.
it was very rare, and I was very shocked. I was like, because my mom's a PK, so I was like, you're what? I was like, she wasn't that bad, but
but she could relate to you.
Exactly.
You could relate to her.
Exactly. And some of the things, and some of the things I think she like fibbed about.
Yeah.
She just wanted me to open up.
Yeah.
But it's like, whoa, like you're not up here. Like you're here with me. Like I can actually talk to you. And I feel like that's true. If we start talking more to the moms and get the moms to start talking to the kids, but not all moms are going to do it, but I feel like that's a big step.
I agree. And I think that the moms that don't want to do it and turn a blind eye, like that is where that issue is more likely to happen.
Yeah.
But that's 80% of the Egyptians, trust me.
Yeah.
Because when we serve them, we were in that experience with the parents, they don't want to listen and they will fight with you and you'll be the bad person. And some other parents will come up to you and tell you, try to help me.
Yeah.
My daughter is doing something weird. I don't know what's happening, but there's something weird. Because you can really tell if they come really late, they don't wake up in a regular basis, they miss school, everything is upside down, you know?
Yep.
You can really tell they're doing something wrong.
That's right.
You're not going to be in a routine and you're doing everything perfect and do something wrong. No, you cannot do both.
I agree, but you can, what do they say, like you can only lead the horse to water? Is that the saying, right? Like, because, I personally, I may be unaware, but I don't think all churches have programs though to help the moms talk about that topic. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of that. And I think that's the first step though, is like to admit that this could be something that your child is going to face. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and I think we should start really early. Like who, I can't remember who told me that even masturbation, the kids start at 5.
4.
Or yes, I think you
4,
told
right?
me, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's scary. Like back in the day, I used to know that it starts in middle school, early
That's
high
why
school.
you have to involve them in activities like Susan said earlier, soccer, basketball. They start as young as 2.
It's starting early. Like the damage is heading our way right now.
It is. It's serious.
It's scary.
It is.
And you cannot leave your kids alone in the room watching TV or watching your...
And you can't even tell them that
2 years old gets to the phone and he plays his own movies. And I say, no, this is bad. He's like, no, it's not bad. I can watch it.
Well, even like I download some like speaking apps, you know, for my 4-year-old and like reading apps. And then there'll be ads, because of course I don't pay for them, right?
Yeah.
I just click on the free one. And so it always has these ads and it'll be like some like Mortal Kombat-ish like fighting and killing. And I'm like, what are you watching? And he didn't even click on anything. It just pops right up.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I mean, I think like, of course, starting at that age, to me personally, that's too young, right?
You can't discuss it, but it's happening.
There is actually.
But you can't discuss it with them though.
But
No, you can't let them know.
I think they're doing that. I mean, that's probably a different topic, but I don't think at 4 years old it's a question of like. No, I don't think it's the same as a 13-year-old.
They're discovering. Yeah.
They're discovering their body, so you cannot really discuss it. But you try to put them in active, like take your bike and go out. Let's run.
Exactly.
Let's take the ball and play outside.
To like have the conversation.
No.
That's not
I don't understand it.
Be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a nice idea. Just be aware of it would be great.
Because it could lead to a habit later on.
Right, exactly. You just try to distract them with soccer.
Yes, it's crazy. Plus, poor all the people, like all the people that works full time, and they don't have really time for their kids.
Yeah.
Like, thank God we all have time for our kids. But there's people that really cannot afford living, and they have to be like full time. And they have to put their kids full time in daycare. And you never know what's around them. How can you control it?
Wait, so they could learn this from daycare?
A lot, like
there's teachers
language,
watching?
like how would you know? Are you watching? Do you know what's happening?
Oh my gosh.
Do
And
you
have you
watch
seen
the
how many
news?
kids are in there?
24/7?
Like, there's a lot of kids. I mean, listen.
Well, now
What
I
they're
am.
saying?
Oh, no, I can't hear what they're saying. I'm
You
just
cannot
looking.
say
You can't.
what.
Listen, Noah and Lily come home, and I'm like, where did you learn that? Like, Beam and I, we work full time, right? So since 2 years old, like, luckily, like, Tata and Giddu could watch them, up until 2, and they didn't have to go to, daycare or anything. But they started a religious school, which is great at 2. But they work the same schedule I work. Like, they are dropped off at 8:30 and they're picked up at 5:30. Yeah. And so since 2 years old, like, that's a big chunk of their life where they could be picking up anything.
True. They're like a sponge.
They are.
I think they do.
So yeah, we have to remember that.
And
It's
even
the society.
Yeah, I like this, like what we talked about last time. The songs that they listen to, the games that they play. Like, there's a racing game, and it's all like girls in bikinis and doing stuff on the cars. And I was just like, what is this? What are we watching? And it's like little kids playing it in church.
Yeah.
Like, I was shocked. I went,
Unbelievable.
yeah, I was really shocked. I was like, what are you playing? What are you doing?
Wow.
And he's
have
like,
to
oh,
be
it's a
very
game.
careful.
It's a game. I'm like, okay, do your parents know that you play this game? They're like, yeah, Mama bought it for me. And I'm like,
Probably they don't know what's that
I guarantee
game.
that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the problem is it's like, oh, a racing car game.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
But they
a-
don't know the things that are inside that game. And that stuff is so influential in their
It is.
brains.
That's what I do with my kids, like the older ones. When you want to download a game, let's sit beside me, download it, let me see what you're playing.
and then
And either I say yes or no, and we're going to delete it. And they don't have my password for the iCloud.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, because that's the thing I'm saying. They give too much freedom to their kids.
Because they don't want to say no.
Yes, at certain
when
points,
is the
boundaries.
Yeah,
like
okay,
that.
I'm a new mom, so it's all this stuff is like scaring me. I'm like, oh my goodness, 4 years old. She's only 2 months old, but still, like,
Yeah.
we're almost
Before you know
there.
it, before you know it, she's gonna be 2.
Yes. So it's like, when do you stop it? And then also, like, not to jump from subject to subject, but like we also talked about like private school versus public school, and then how like you hide it and stuff like that. Virginity, how you hide it from the house or from your friends and all that, and the way around it.
Here in USA, they
don't really care for that.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. Do people care nowadays?
And they don't know.
Egyptians and non-Egyptians.
Egyptians, no, they do.
Egyptians,
Are
I
you
believe.
sure?
I
Still
think
do.
Egyptians absolutely. I agree that in Egypt it's probably a bigger deal.
Not
but
anymore.
Really?
Not anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean
Not
it's not a big
anymore.
deal? It's not a big deal
Not
to be a
anymore.
virgin?
No. In high societies, high class people, they don't really care.
But that's
They really
that's because
don't?
it's like
No,
a
they
money
don't.
marriage. It's
Yes.
not like it's not. I
Marriage
don't want
for
to put it in
love.
a bad way, but it's because they are looking far, far, far more than topics like this. Like, what business are we gonna get into?
Yes,
or
exactly.
what family I'm marrying into? It doesn't matter.
no,
I'm the
dear.
only person that knows.
Remember something. Our generation, we're the old generation now. You think your brother, my brother will care, your sister will care, her brother will care. Our
crazy,
kids will
though.
care about all of
It's
this
sad,
or
though.
see it.
I hope they
They
care.
don't. I don't think they will.
I don't think
it's
they
not
will.
that they
No,
don't know
Tina,
the
but they
value
do.
of it.
You think so? Because
They don't know, like, if a girl did a mistake, I discuss it all the time with my cousins and my my brother. They're like, it's a mistake, it's okay.
Yeah.
God forgive
No,
us.
but it's limits though. Like if they know that this girl made out, they don't really care. Back in the day, they did.
Oh,
If this
yes.
girl had went to base 1 or base 2, they don't care. But when it comes to that, no, they care.
No.
They're still on
I
that
think there's
mentality.
still some
No,
people
if
that
they're
care,
more
but
Egyptian.
not
as much as before.
No.
well, I think it has to do with like I mean, how religious they are, though. Like, I mean, obviously, like, you're not supposed to, right? According to the Bible, before you get married. So I do feel like, you know, maybe people who are a little bit more relaxed with that, they're going to be more relaxed about it. But I feel like it's a big deal.
It's actually valuable to you, too.
Of course. Of course.
It's very,
protecting your heart.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, it's not just that. Like, I think about it and I equate it to the emotional, like you give so much emotion, right?
Yes.
So that's like, we are like blessed to have the emotion we have. And the more you give that out, like the more you are wasting and then you can't give in your marriage.
But Yusuf did this thing when we were in high school. He got a piece of paper and it was like, he's like, this is your heart. And whenever you give a piece of your heart, you tear a piece out. You tear a piece out and you give it to a person. You tear it to a person. And that was so like, oh my goodness to me. That was like, whoa. But that's still,
and when it comes to Mr. Right,
you have a little piece. Yeah, it's like a little piece that you give them.
Yeah. And also comparison. I'm not just talking about physical, I'm talking even emotion-wise or relationship-wise. Like human nature, they always compare. Nobody can tell me that I was in 2 relationships and I didn't compare each one. No way.
True.
Like they'll be like, oh, he's much more generous than the first one. So imagine if it was physical. Like I'll be with my husband the rest of my life, but I'm comparing him to a previous relationship I had before marriage. And what if the previous relationship was better? How is she gonna live?
Well,
I never
in
thought
American
about this.
culture, or in some cultures, they say,
gotta try it.
to try the milk before you buy the cow.
It's true. That's what they say. But like the sad part about that is, like, let's be real. Like,
where's the cow?
Well, we own the cow, but the cow can stop working too.
That's true.
Like, so if you're marrying somebody because you tested it out and it's good, okay. So what about when it's not good or not working or whatever? Like, if that is what you're building your relationship off of, like, there needs to be more of a foundation than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's not true. It's not about like, you gotta try it out before, you know, you sign the line and sign up for it forever.
But I feel like girls, that if you have lost your virginity, like like you're saying, and you like the first one and then you marry the second one and it's not as good, like that's gonna mess with your marriage. That's
because they'll never
be satisfied.
And they can't go tell this to an Egyptian man, hey, I'm not satisfied. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're hurting their
ego,
dignity or pride. Yeah.
I don't even think Egyptian. I think general. If you tell a guy I'm not satisfied, they're gonna be like, okay,
sorry.
What do you want me to do?
They will always feel like they were a mistake.
Yeah.
Too.
That's true.
I think the most advice I can give each girl out there, be careful, because of one thing is HIV nowadays. Yeah, so leave everything behind and think about it 100 times before you do it because of that.
Just lead with fear.
And
fear
how,
always gets them.
How are you going to face God? Like, for example, the martyrs.
Yeah.
You know?
Before we talk about this,
okay, go ahead.
let's take a break and then we'll come back. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Going back to what Nordine was telling us about what happened on the cathedral in Egypt on Sunday, December 11, the big explosion that happened. I think 25 or 29 people died, and about 36 got injured. I know.
And it continues.
It's rising every day.
Yeah, there were 25, and then
it was
now
26,
it's 29.
Now it's 29.
Yes. And the injured people, how many now? 30 or 36?
I think there were 49 in the beginning.
There were 49, but the number keeps changing, of course. Because then they, unfortunately,
pass away.
Did you see that mother that she lost her 2 daughters?
No. Heartbreaking.
It's killing me.
Can you tell us the story again? Sorry.
I don't know exactly.
There's so many.
Yeah, I think when she heard about the explosion, she went to that place that they take the bodies to, like the coolers. And she was pulling each one out. The first one she pulled, it wasn't her daughters. She said, thank you, God, please. I don't want to lose any of my daughters. The second one she opened, it was her older daughter. She told him, God, please, you took the first one, keep the second one for me, the younger one. She kept opening. The one before the end, it was her daughter, the younger one. Actually, I read a lot about these two girls. They were saying they were living on earth, but as in heaven. They read the whole Bible. How many of us read the whole Bible? I didn't. I don't know. And they've been,
So sad.
they've been highlighting some certain verses that talks about heaven and why would you live, and it's a lot. There was another guy that lost his wife and newborn baby. There's another girl that was a doctor, I think 29 years old. My teacher in school lost her mom and her sister.
Really?
There was actually a girl at St. Anthony's Church in the Haken, and she was like crying. And they said that it was because she had two friends that were in the church at the time, and they didn't make it. And she was, I was like, oh.
Actually, that doctor, the 29 years old, she's not from that church. She serves there. So she was just there for service. But she's not from that church. But that tells me that God chose
old lady?
the priest wife. There was a priest wife.
She died 70 days before she did.
Yes, I heard that. Her son came and talked about her. And there's plenty of people. I don't know, where is Egypt going? Where is it going to end?
It's never going to end.
I don't want to say Muslims people. I don't want to leave it broad.
They're not categorized, though.
They're terrorists.
No, they
They're
came
just
actually and
terrorists.
said we're ISIS. That's what they said. They said it's coming from ISIS. I don't know. You hear
every day it's changing. All the news are always, and you don't know who to trust. You hear one thing from one station, you hear another from another station, and you hear a third from the third station.
You know what I recently heard, and I was like, are you serious? The sister of the person that they thought did the explosion, she was very happy about it, and she's like, oh, my heart was flying when I saw it explode. But then again, today, I saw the video of his mom saying, oh, that's not my son. That's not, I saw it today. She's like, they gave her the picture, and she's the mom of that name. She's like, that's not my son. You took his name, but that's not him. So every single, I won't even say day, every few hours, something else is coming up. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on? I mean,
you know, it's hard. I think like the media, like obviously like one station even to the next, you hear almost a completely different story. And that's what makes it really hard to follow. But like, you know, we were mentioning like, unfortunately, like this has been going on from the beginning of time. Like it truly has been going on forever. I mean, the Christians have always been persecuted. And, you know, my uncle, when I was in high school, actually, you know, unfortunately was killed by, you know, some extremists, Muslim extremists. And, you know, it was only because he was Christian and he was the doctor in that town. And so I think, unfortunately, you know, this is not going to end. I don't see it ending. I see it only, unfortunately, getting worse. So, you know, we just have to pray. We have to pray for the families who are impacted and pray for the really sick people who think that they're doing the right thing by, unfortunately, blowing themselves up. You know?
I hate to say it, but those people are in heaven, and we know for sure that they're in heaven. So I don't think that we should be mourning. I feel like we should be happy and excited that they are in heaven. Like when I die, when I die, I wish that it would be that way.
There's no better way to go for sure, because obviously, like the earth is great, but obviously there's suffering every day that we see and we feel and hear, and they aren't dealing with that anymore. You know, I think like we just pray for the families that are mourning, because that's a lot to take in,
especially the mom that lost it too.
Imagine.
Another one. A dad and his son buried his wife and his daughter. So imagine a brother taking. It's just
heartbreaking.
It is. He couldn't even talk. He couldn't speak. So it's till when the Christians will be persecuted and
there was
And everywhere, by the way.
Yeah, it's not just in Egypt. It's
anymore.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
But even in...
But it's really highlighted in Egypt. I'm not sure why.
Well, it's because lack of security. Like over here.
No, there's so much security in Egypt.
No,
it was so
not in
annoying.
churches.
No, I'm telling you, when we just went to Egypt this summer, and it was so annoying how much security there was. It was literally every 10 feet you're getting searched. I told my cousin, I was like, this is so annoying. Or not my cousin.
In church?
Everywhere.
No, I'm not talking about everywhere. Like malls and places like that. They
I
have
agree with
high
her.
security.
Streets.
No, but
I'm
in
talking
churches,
about
no.
There's always a security
I'm
guard.
talking about
And there's a
They
metal
went to the
detector.
cathedral. You serious? There's no
Yeah,
security.
That should be
one
the
I
most
don't
secure
understand.
No.
church. But no, I'm not talking about the streets or no. They have high security over there because they care about their stuff. But for churches, they lack security.
That's true. I agree.
Completely.
I told my
Like,
husband the
how
same
can
thing.
a person like this that's not familiar, you've never seen him before, just walk in?
Because
as if he's walking into, like, over here, our malls are more secure than the church.
But
let's
you don't
be
know if
serious.
somebody's...
Over here too. If someone stranger walks to the church,
You're not gonna say anything.
After the incident of El Quddusin, everybody goes and asks. Like, especially, like, for example, Saint Rebecca. Abu Naris always asks new faces who you are.
if he's praying and he's coming in church,
But we welcome everybody. Is what it comes down to.
we're welcome.
Oh,
but
a couple
we
of
ask.
weeks.
Like, for example,
someone
But what are we
walked
going to
in.
ask? Are you here to hurt
2 weeks
us?
ago,
Yeah,
someone
like-
walked in. It was literally walking beside me. I couldn't ask him.
but
He
other
looks
people
stranger.
do.
But what
Like,
are you going
I'll
to
tell
ask
you.
him?
Yeah,
went
who
to,
are you?
from?
What's in your bag?
No, like, no,
know
not
what
to
I
that
mean?
point, but
It's
hi,
hard
like,
to-
for example, I went to a church in Clearwater and my face was not very familiar. And then a lady comes up to me, hi, how are you? Where are you visiting
Really?
from? Yeah, no, they ask. Like, even in St. Anthony, they ask. There was a couple of Americans that walked in a few weeks back, and then I can't remember who went out and then talked to Sony, I think, and told her, hey, there's 2 new people. How about you go? Not that you're doubting them, you're just welcoming them. And from the talk, you're going to know who they are.
Yeah.
And even like in Christmas Eve, St. Rebecca now, it's been going on since the Quddusin accident. They have a sticker on the back of the car. If you don't have that sticker, they're going to doubt you. Just to know that you're, from the community. Because, like, if you notice, they always hit us when there's, like, Christmas, Easter, New Year's.
Yeah.
There has to be a celebration for them to hit us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, by the way, like, when we say that it happens more in Egypt, I feel like it's because religion fuels everything in Egypt. Like, you're either the 2 predominant religions are your Coptic Christian or you're Muslim. I know there are others, but those are like the predominant ones, and those are the 2 that are really, unfortunately, having conflict.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we see it more there.
But I feel like it's an outside source. It's not the Egyptians that are hitting each other.
No, it's an outside source for sure.
ISIS probably.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know my family in Egypt, we live right in front of a mosque. And, like, everybody's friends with each other.
Yeah, no,
we used, even as
not.
kids.
Do you think it's because there's so many Coptic Christians there then? It's a big spot to,
No, usually
kill a
they're
lot of
very
people?
friendly over there.
Do you think that's
like
what it is?
It's not really not from Egypt because in Egypt they have
Yeah,
plenty
that's
of
what I was about to
different.
say. They have
They do.
They have
parts.
Ikhwan.
Yeah.
Ikhwan hates Christians.
Yeah.
Let's be logic. And ISIS hates us, of course. And they were showing, I was just looking at one of the movies, they were teaching kids from 6th grade what's Islam and how to hate Christians, especially Christians.
Oh, I saw that video.
And they would teach them how to carry a gun. I get worried when my kids play gun.
Well, it's because
Toy
they want them to go to heaven.
Yeah,
right?
it's like-
Unfortunately,
it could
that's
be
what they're
serious
taught.
one-
This is how
yes.
you go to
So they
heaven,
teach them,
you
seriously,
know?
6th grade? Like how old? 12 years? 11 years?
There were places in Egypt after it exploded, Egyptians, completely Egyptians, they, the lady that kept saying, Allahu Akbar, we're so happy.
Yeah, I did see
And
that.
they're Egyptians.
Wow.
There are parts in Egypt where there are bad people and they could do that, but most of the time it's outside of Egypt. This one could be from inside, but most of the time it's from outside.
But you know what though? Honestly, I truly feel that it's anybody who follows the Quran who is an extremist. Yeah. And so, I mean, I think when you take any religion and you're like an extremist, you know, exactly, like it's going to be bad. You're going to interpret it in a non-merciful way, you know? And so I'm sure we've all glanced at a Quran before, you know, when you look at it, it's scary. Some of the things, you know, how they believe they're going to go to heaven. And it has to do with exactly the acts that are going on and we continue to see. So if this is truly what they believe, this is what they follow, then there is no end, is the problem.
But if it ends, then we won't have martyrdom.
That's true.
Well,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
There was, I can't remember the verse, but there was a part in the Bible that said that there's going to be a time right before eternity where it's going to be a lot of martyrs coming to heaven. So it'll never end. It's actually getting worse.
All over. Worse. And it's not just Egypt.
No, it's
London. Everywhere. It's happening everywhere.
It's not just Christians. Like even what happened in
Palestine.
Yeah,
in Palestine.
It's even with some Muslims with Muslims.
Yes,
like because they're not
the same.
It's like Orthodox and Catholic.
Islam.
Yeah,
it's
because they're too loose though. Like that's what's so crazy is even among themselves there is
conflict.
Conflict.
They take it to the extreme. Like we have Catholic, we have Orthodox, we have Protestant, but it never reaches that.
Any religion that the end result is to hurt others is unfortunately not a religion of God.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no other way to say it.
True.
Just people are so worried and afraid now to go to church, and everything is coming. Christmas is coming, New Year's is coming, Nativity feast is coming. It's so sad.
It's sad, but I think their faith, some people, their faith are growing stronger.
Yes. And some people are getting weak. They're getting
some, but not the majority.
Weaker. Yes, that's true, but I think it's so scary.
It is so scary, but I feel like the thing that I was most, not really in shock about, but so happy about, was they were saying that you would think in Egypt right now with what happened, right, this most recent act, that the churches would be empty. It's the exact opposite.
Yes.
Which shows you, like, how strong those people's faith are.
Yes, but it freaks parents when kids are going alone to church.
Of course.
Parents. I'm not talking about any other.
Not just parents. Like, my parents are going to Egypt after Christmas, and I'm like,
nervous.
I'm really scared. I'm like, I even told them, like, don't go to churches. Yeah, right. They're not going to listen to me. But, like, I was like, you know, like, be careful, be watchful of what's going on. And, like, I have a couple uncles that are priests in Egypt, and that freaks me out. It's like, that could have been their church, and that could have been their wife and their daughters. Yeah. Like that's scary. And it's amazing that, like, if they happen to go that way, I know I'm going to be very sad, and I'm going to be selfish because I don't want them to go. But it's still
the
a
best
good
way
thing.
to, it definitely
is a happy
ending.
It is.
Yeah. It seals your fate.
Yeah. So it's like if
that's what we live for, right?
Exactly.
We live to eternally live
go up there,
in paradise.
I just want to say something before we end it. Relating to our first topic with this, for girls and boys, men and women, you don't know, like, don't think, oh, when I get old, I'll be good. I'll get on the good path. Because most of the people that died were like young. In 20s, early 30s.
Very young.
So death right now is just hitting any age whatsoever. So we should just, get closer to God.
Teenagers.
If we are, if the devil is fighting us and things that we know are not right for us, just keep praying, talk to Buna, confess, and God's not going to leave us. He's always going to be by our side.
True.
Be ready.
That's so true, especially teenagers too.
Yeah.
Not only 20s and 30s.
Right.
The Navy, the USA Navy, did a beautiful song for Egypt. Did you guys hear it?
Yes.
فيها حاجة حلوة حاجة حلوة خالص. Now we'll watch it. We'll see what I see.
It is our pleasure to perform this special song which celebrates the beauty, enticing culture, and sweet spirit found throughout the land of Egypt. This is Fiha Haga Helwa. فيها النية الصوفية فيها حاجة طافية حاجة بتخليك تثبت فيها السنة السنة.
Back to you. Now we're going to our sports team to see what's happening.
Hey, how you guys doing? And thank you, and say hi to everyone back at the studio. This is George Yakub with sports. Yes, I know I have a black eye. I got some stitches, but I just wanted to make sure to show you how great sports are, and that we don't only talk about it, but play them. Let's start off with basketball, since this is what happened during basketball. The NBA has been going with some great games. The Celtics playing a great game a couple of nights ago against the Heat, with Isaiah Thomas getting ejected because of a flagrant foul. We saw that they won 105-95, and then we go and see the Spurs and the Pelicans. We saw a great ceremony given to Tim Duncan and a great speech by Pop, and it was a beautiful ceremony celebrating Tim Duncan's retirement and his jersey being hung in the arena. We go and see that, we fast forward a little and we see the Timberwolves and the Sun played. The Timberwolves came up with a 115-108 win. The Nuggets beat the Mavericks 117-107. Let's just stop right there. The Mavs. What is going on with Dirk? Where are you at, Dirk? What's going on? What's been happening? Are you okay? Have you been feeling okay? The NBA has not seen the Dirk that we all know and love. We go on and see that the Lakers and the Hornets are going to be playing on Tuesday, December 20th. And the Heat and the Magic play. And the Celtics play the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets play the Clips. The Clippers have been going on a great roll. We see that Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, great chemistry. Austin Rivers picking it up a bit, off the bench and when he starts and everything. We go and see that they have been getting great chemistry, great wins, great plays. And that's pretty much a lot in the NBA that's going on. We see that great teammates, great players, and of course we see the Warriors are killing every team that they play. And we all got surprised when the Cavs and the Warriors both lost to the Grizzlies. What's been going on with the Grizzlies? Are they coming up? We go on to see the Spanish Premier League, and we see that Barcelona played Espanyol 4-1. They beat them 4-1. Wow, that's amazing. You don't think that they would win like that. Suarez with 2 amazing goals. David Lopez for the Espanyol with a great goal. And Messi at the 90th minute to just put that dagger in. And we just see that they've been playing with great chemistry, and we see that we want to see it. We want to keep going with it. And it was a great time watching it, a great time with sports. Thank you all for staying tuned with us, and we'll see you next week.
Back to you again. Thank you for watching us. Please keep CYC in your prayers. See you next episode. Good night.
Good night.